For most of human history, civilization was limited by muscle, the strength of men, the strength of horses, the flow of rivers, the direction of the wind. Then, in little more than a century, the United States unleashed more usable energy than entire empires had consumed across millennia. And for a brief period, Americans celebrated that transformation openly, even on their postage stamps. Nowhere does that confidence feel more tangible than at Laguna Dam, along the engineered waters of the lower Colorado River. I'm Mark Schauer, and this is Dispatches from the Lost Republic. At the dawn of the 20th century, steam still ruled the industrial world. Scott 294 and 295 celebrated the triumph of American machinery and transportation at the turn of the 20th century. The age of steam had collapsed distance itself. Railroads stitched together a continental republic. Steamships connected oceans. Factories thundered with piston and boiler power. Yet even then, steam itself was quietly yielding to new forms of energy. Scott 296 depicted something extraordinary for 1901, an electric automobile. Today it feels futuristic in retrospect, but electric vehicles were not science fiction at the turn of the 20th century. In crowded cities, electricity appeared cleaner, quieter, and more civilized than steam or gasoline. For a moment, America's energy future remained undecided. But petroleum won. Scott 1134 openly celebrated the American petroleum industry's centennial. Oil did more than fuel automobiles. It fueled suburbia, commercial aviation, mechanized agriculture, the interstate highway system, the United States Navy, the entire logistical architecture of 20th century America. Cheap petroleum gave ordinary Americans a standard of living that was once reserved for aristocrats. The modern American landscape was built atop ancient hydrocarbons drawn from beneath the earth. But oil alone didn't build the American West. Water and electricity did. Laguna Dam here was the first dam built on the Colorado River, constructed between 1905 and 1909. It was never commemorated on postage, unlike its younger and much larger upriver cousin, Hoover Dam, on Scott 774. Philatelist Franklin Roosevelt refused to give his predecessor the satisfaction of the dam that had been named for him. So under his administration, it was dubbed Boulder Dam. It's amazing that the harnessed and tamed Colorado of today was once the wild Colorado River shown on Scott 1374, the Major John Wesley Powell and his companions had first braved a mere 40 years before Laguna Dam was constructed. Further northwest, on the Columbia River, Scott 1009 commemorated Grand Coulee Dam, one of the largest concrete structures ever built by human beings. Grand Coulee's hydroelectric power fed aluminum production, aircraft manufacturing, and the vast industrial mobilization that helped win World War II. The bombers, ships, and factories of victory required unimaginable quantities of electricity, and Grand Coulee Dam helped provide it. Scott 1184 honored George Norris and Norris Dam, symbols of the Tennessee Valley Authority and the broader New Deal vision of public electrification. To earlier generations, electricity was hardly convenience alone. It was liberation. Rural electrification transformed farm life, industry, medicine, communication, and education. Darkness retreated. Isolation diminished. Power lines became emblems of national progress. And then came the atom. Scott number 1070 promoted President Eisenhower's Atoms for Peace initiative. In the 1950s, nuclear power appeared almost limitless. Many believed atomic energy would someday make electricity too cheap to meter. The same force that had destroyed Hiroshima might also illuminate cities, desalinate seawater, and power civilization indefinitely. Scott 1200 honored Brian McMahon, a senator who was one of the principal architects of American atomic energy policy. The atom was not hidden from the public. It was celebrated, advertised, placed proudly onto envelopes carried into homes and businesses across the nation. Americans were encouraged to believe that technological progress meant more prosperity, more abundance, more civilization. And then the confidence began to fade. There were environmental fears, oil shocks, inflation, public distrust. A triumphant energy civilization that earlier stamps celebrated became associated with anxiety and limitation. By 1974, during the oil embargo, Scott 1547 no longer celebrated abundance. It promoted conservation. The tone had changed completely. The physical world built by that earlier confidence nonetheless remains all around us. Even now, modern life depends upon systems so vast that most people scarcely notice them until they fail. And perhaps that is why these stamps matter, because they remind us that the United States once saw energy not merely as a commodity, but as a civilizational achievement worthy of commemoration. The Republic of Power still surrounds us, even if the faith that built it has been forgotten. I'm Mark Schauer, and this is Dispatches from the Lost Republic.